Hey everyone, how's it going? Yeah, I guess this is a comic book review video. Haven't done one of these in a while. Right, so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to review the books that I showed off in my comic book haul video. If you haven't seen that, go back and watch it now. Then come back to this video, watch this, and you get my opinions on the books that I talked about in that video. Without further ado, let's get into the books, shall we? First book I'm going to be talking about is Daredevil issue 608. It's saddening to see that my favourite character is just not getting the most interesting storylines. This storyline in particular is very bland and mediocre. I'm not really a big fan of Mike Murdock as a character. He's not the most interesting of villains. The conflict with Mike Murdock isn't too deep either. It just feels like there's no real stakes here, and with the actual conflict and the conclusion of this storyline ending here, nothing really happens and nothing really gets resolved, and it introduces a new villain that's probably going to be ongoing in the whole Daredevil landscape, but it's not really a villain I'm excited to see more of. Next up, Captain America Annual number 1. This was a fairly run-of-the-mill storyline. The art in this is a bit bland and a bit lifeless, but the main story is actually pretty good. A group of concentration camp escapees run into Captain America and Bucky, and task Captain America and Bucky to help them escape from the Nazis that are chasing them. Yeah, it's a pretty self-explanatory story, and it's pretty alright. There's nothing too cool about it. There's nothing really too bad about it either. There is one character in this that is portrayed as almost a bit offensive to some people. It may turn some people off, but apart from that, this book is alright. It's neither good nor bad. It's just a bit in the middle, a bit average. Next up we have Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 1 or Annual number 43. Dependent if it's the legacy numbering or the all-new numbering, the fresh start numbering. This is a fairly good book. The only thing that's dragging it down is the art. The artwork is very childish, if want for a better word. It's not too good art. It's nowhere near as good as what's in the main title. But the story in this is good. It takes place during the time when Spider-Man wore the black suit and was taken over by the symbiote, and it shows the story of what the symbiote would do whilst Peter Parker was asleep, and what the symbiote would make Peter Parker do whilst he was asleep. it would take over his body and then go out and fight crime in a more brutal, more violent fashion. There's a run-in with Hammerhead in a very brutal fight with Hammerhead. The only reason he doesn't kill Hammerhead is because there's a kid off in the background who tells him not to. And for some reason the symbiote sees that kid as a friend, so just swings away. It's a really interesting take, because it's good to see someone actually afraid of the symbiote, and this is the first time that I've seen that the symbiote is a monster. It really is, and this is the first book that's made me see that in a long time. Something that even the main Venom series has struggled with. Next book, The Amazing Spider-Man number 5. This is the finale of this split personality, separation anxiety story arc, where the avatar of Spider-Man has been split from Peter Parker, and they are two completely separate people. They get put back together in this issue, and there's a fight against the Tri-Sentinels, where there's a whole army of them that were unleashed in the last issue, and the fight against them in this issue, which is pretty cool. And we get a bit more of that Shadow figure from the first issue. He pops up again, and we get shown that he is truly against Spider-Man, and he may not be a wholly original creation either. He may be someone from Peter Parker's past come back to haunt him. So it's pretty interesting, and I'm excited to see where it goes. We do get a little tease that the next arc is going to involve Kraven, which I am excited for. I really like Kraven as a character. He's one of my favourite Spidey villains. So I'm looking forward to seeing Nick Spencer's version of Kraven and seeing how he writes him. But yeah, excited to see where this goes, and it's finally ramping up as a fairly decent book now. Nick Spencer's hitting his stride. Speaking about hitting their stride, Dan Slott. Dan Slott is so much better when he's not writing Spider-Man, which is a shame because the next issue of this is going to involve Spider-Man. Yeah, Fantastic Four number 2 is showing the story of where have Reed and Sue been over the last 3 years since Secret Wars. They've been rebuilding the multiverse, as you do, casual. But yeah, it's a really fun story because you see the kids. They've got their own superhero names. They are learning to use their powers. Valeria Richards is getting a boyfriend who is very similar to Namor, and so Reed and Sue decide to stop that before it even starts. And we get an introduction of a new villainous character called Griever, who is shown to be extremely powerful because she takes out Owen Reese like that and takes out Franklin Richards like that. And these are cosmic level characters as well. They're not like pushovers. The one thing that I do kind of have a problem with is the ending, how this book ends. It ends with like the Future Foundation, Reed and Sue all decimated on the ground, and Griever is basically like, I expected more of a challenge. So Reed says, no, you just beat a load of kids and half of the Fantastic Four. If I bought the rest, we would beat you in a heartbeat. So Griever accepts the challenge and decides, yeah, why don't I give them the tools to beat me and basically goad myself into a trap. So Reed Richards then brings every character in the Marvel Universe that has ever been a part of the Fantastic Four. This including some really big powerhouses like Hulk, She-Hulk, a fair few different versions of the Thing, and also Spider-Man. Dan Slott has got to find a way to put Spider-Man in his book. But yeah, this is it was a really fun story. I love the way that Dan Slott writes the relationship between Reed and Sue, but the ending was a bit confusing and kind of a bit baffling as to why the villain didn't just kill Reed and Sue right there. Of course, we can't have that in a story, only in the second issue as well. But weirder things have happened in the Marvel Universe. Up next, Doctor Strange number 5. And this book is shaping up to be one of my favourite books as of this time. Yeah, Mark Waid can write Doctor Strange really well. And the artwork by Jesus Ciaz is really good as well. It's a shame that he's going to be off the book for the next story arc. And the next story arc might not be as interesting as this one, because they're doing the clone thing again. And the clone thing again, like what happened in Spider-Man, like what happened in Daredevil, I don't really find this whole storyline of clones really that interesting, or characters fighting themselves that interesting either. But see Doctor Strange fight Doctor Strange, you know, that'll be a pretty interesting matchup. But this issue was really good, really action packed, and it's kind of the end of Doctor Strange learning and getting his magical powers back, and by the end of this issue he is more powerful than he has ever been, which I like, because we'll finally be able to see Mark Waid write a Doctor Strange that is godlike, and that's where I think the best storylines for Doctor Strange is, where you have him fight someone that is equal to his godlike powers, not where he loses his godlike powers. Because I feel like they've done that so much that I would like to see Doctor Strange have the power of Doctor Strange and fight someone that is a match to that. Last but not least, my pick of the week, and if you saw my last video, which you should have done, you'll know Venom is my pick of the week. This seriously is my favourite title that is ongoing at this point. This is the best Venom I have read in a long time. This is the best Marvel I've read in a long time. And that's saying something. But I think this is the best Marvel series since Secret Wars, if I'm allowed to say that. This is seriously good. It's basically the big conclusion fight with Venom versus the Grendel symbiote, the god of all symbiotes, this big symbiote god dragon thing, and it is epic. They have a big fight. Venom is super powered up. He's got a load of guns. He's got a load of weapons. He's got another voice in his head, the voice of Rex Strickland. And he has a massive smackdown, beatdown fight with a giant dragon made up of symbiotes. And he eventually kills Noel by trapping him in a furnace. But whilst he traps him in the furnace, the symbiote comes off of Eddie Brock. And Eddie Brock asks it to go inside of him to turn off his pain receptors so that he can keep the door closed, almost killing Eddie Brock and severing his connection with the symbiote. I am really interested to see where it goes from there, and I just hope that the next story arc isn't like a tie-in, or isn't like practically the same as the movie, because I feel like Marvel has a way of doing that. They have a thing for like, oh, that character's going to be in the movie. Why don't I try and shoehorn that character to be in the comics so I can get more people reading? I hope that isn't the case with this, because I feel like going from fighting a literal god and getting new powers to fighting just another clone of Venom would be quite stupid. But Donny Cates has proved thus far that he is capable of writing Venom, and I really want to see where he stretches his tendrils in the Venom universe further. And he is cementing me as a firm fan of Venom as a character and as a series. So yeah, those are all the books that I picked up this week. Let me know what books you picked up this week, and what you thought of some of the books that I picked up, or some of the books that you picked up, in the comments below. And yeah, I will see you in the next video. Hit that like button, comment, subscribe, check out all that lovely social media goodness, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.